Child, let's go outside to the garden and pick some basil. I'm gonna show you how I make pesto, honey.
Whipping up all of your favorite recipes.
Simply Food.
You should know by now that you're in for a treat.
Simply Food.
There's no other channel where you'd rather be.
Simply Food.
Seafood, pasta, cakes, and pies. Sing and laugh and even cry. Like and share and hit subscribe. Simply Food by TY.
Okay, y'all, so I have a significant amount of some beautiful sweet basil that I planted about 3 weeks ago, and I figured this will be the best time to make some pesto, so let's harvest some. So instead of just picking at the leaves, which is what you don't want to do, you actually want to look for this little area right here where you see there's 2 branches going out on the side. You actually want to cut right above that, and then this is what we'll use, because now what's going to happen is these are going to branch out and make new ones. So I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Cut. And that's all going to grow back. So this is all of the basil that I was able to harvest. And you can actually see how much I have left. And honestly, because I've trimmed this, it's now going to grow back twice as big. So let's go inside and let's clean this up and let's turn it into some pesto. Okay, so the ingredients to make this pesto is actually quite simple. I kind of make mine just a little bit different, but I will let you guys know the ways and how you can make it traditionally versus kind of my way, which is kind of switching things up. You're going to need some black pepper, some coarse kosher salt, of course your lemons. Of course, you guys have already now seen me pick out my fresh basil from the garden. Some really good olive oil. That is crucial that you start with some good olive oil. I have about a half a cup of some Romano cheese here, some fresh garlic, and then I'm going to be also using some Parmigiano Reggiano. Now, this is where things are kind of optional versus, and traditional versus kind of make it your own. A traditional pesto is going to have pine nuts, which are these little beauties right here. But if you did not know, pine nuts are extremely expensive. So I think there are times people have kind of found crafty ways of kind of switching it up, because not everyone can afford to be buying pine nuts. So some people make it with just walnuts. Some people make it with just pistachios. Or some people do like I do, which is a combination, which is a half and half mixture. So I do 2 tablespoons of the pine nuts and 2 tablespoons of the de-shelled pistachios. That is the balance that I like. You can do it all pine nuts. You can do it all pistachios. That's completely up to you. Now, one thing that I did want to make sure that I pointed out is that if you have not noticed, I have removed all of the stems. When making your pesto, it's important to make sure that you just take the time and to remove all of the leaves and discard all of the stems. Now, of course, because I got this out of my garden, I'm going to make sure I clean this, but whether it came from the grocery store or not, you guys know that I was going to clean it, and you guys know that I love using this fruit and veggie cleaner. So I'm literally just going to go in and saturate this down and then run this under cold water and then allow this to get nice and dry before we move on to the next step. So now that my basil is nice and clean, I actually like to go in and toast the pine nuts as well as the pistachios. I'm not adding any oil to this. I'm going to keep an eye on it, make sure that it doesn't burn. Once it becomes nice and fragrant, I'm going to turn it off and then just pull it to the side. While these are toasting, I'm going to go on ahead and grate down my Parmigiano Reggiano. I want about a half a cup, so I have equal parts Parmigiano Reggiano and the Romano cheese. Okay, so these are starting to look and smell absolutely fantastic. I'm now going to turn the heat off and sit these in a bowl to the side. I want to allow these to fully cool down. You do not want to add any elements of heat while making pesto, or it's not going to come out right. It's going to separate. And then also that beautiful green color that we know and love is not going to take place. We're also, like I said, going to be adding in the juice of 1 lemon. So let me go on ahead and actually just get that juiced now. Making pesto, you guys, is so extremely easy, and I always find it so interesting that people actually choose to buy it like already jarred up, when in actuality it really is super easy to make, and it's quite inexpensive. It really just depends on the most expensive element of this recipe will probably be the cheese and or the pine nuts if you decide to go that route. But now we have our fresh lemon juice. We're good to go. Now, for the amount of pesto that I'm making today, I'm using 4 large garlic cloves. But because I don't want my immersion blender to be running too long, again, I don't want to create any heat, I'm actually going to give this a rough chop now before I even put it inside of the container to, blend everything together. All right, so like I said, I'm going to be making mine in my immersion blender today. You can do it in a food processor. You can also do it in a mortar and pestle if you would like. That's totally fine. I'm going to go in with adding in the garlic first, because when the immersion blender goes down, I want a majority of the hard work to be blending up the garlic as well as the pistachios and the pine nuts. And yes, of course, I chopped off the ends of the garlic because y'all know I don't play that, okay? Now I'm gonna go in and add in a little bit of the basil. I'm gonna do this in parts because once again, I cannot stress this enough. You do not want to add in too many elements of heat to this. So I'm going in with half of the amount of the basil and half of the amount of the cheeses. And I'm now gonna go in with a splash of some really good olive oil. Just a little bit. Start off about right there. Now, let's blend it together, people. Once it's already nice and thick like this, go on ahead and stop. And then now you can add in the rest of the ingredients. We're gonna add in the rest of the basil, which smells absolutely incredible, might I add. I'm really proud of how this basil's turning out, and I have a feeling I'm going to be making a lot more pesto. And for those of you that don't know, you can freeze this. Put it in little ice cube trays and then freeze it, and then you can have pesto whenever you want. I'm going to now add in the lemon juice. I like a lot of lemon juice in mine. I'm going to add in a nice hefty pinch of coarse kosher salt and a nice pinch of black pepper. And I'm also going to add in another splash of olive oil. And as far as the olive oil is concerned, you add in as much as you would like to get it to the consistency of your liking. And just to show you guys, this is the consistency that I like my pesto to be. I like it to be able to still cling to the spoon. I do not like mine too soupy and too loose. But as you can see, it is holding together beautifully. It still has that vibrant green color. Absolutely perfect. Go in, taste for any additional salt and pepper, and you've made yourself some homemade pesto. I gave it a taste and decided that it wasn't bright enough for me, so I actually went on ahead and decided to put in the second lemon. And just to show you, even with adding in that second lemon, it is still the consistency that I want. And just like that, my friends, you have made yourself some absolutely beautiful pesto. I mean, this stuff, you can put this on pasta, put it on pizza, make sandwiches with it. It's just absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love pesto, and I love having it in my fridge. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos to show you guys different ways of how to use this, so you ain't got to worry about that, honey. And that there, my friends, is my homemade pesto. I hope you guys try this recipe out. It's absolutely divine. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a couple of recipe videos to show you guys different ways to utilize this. You can store this up to in the fridge, and it can honestly last you in the fridge. I would say anywhere between, I would say honestly up to about a week. Just make sure that it's in a nice airtight container like this. Put it in the fridge, and then you are good to go.